Hello everyone, my name is Miss Delight and welcome to my channel. Here I post sewing tutorials. Today's video is all about the cutting and sewing of this corset blouse I made for a friend. That's the video you're seeing right now. It's pretty Abby. Alright, let's just get right into the video. Let me show you the materials I'll be working with. So I have this blue lace. Then I have this black satin. I'll be using this black satin as a lining for my lace. Then I have this blue silk. This blue silk is just for my skirt. I will not be making a tutorial on that part. So let's start drafting our pattern. Using my ruler, I will make a line at the top part of my pattern paper. This is going to serve as a starting point of the pattern I'm going to draft. So I'm going to draw a line. Label it SH. That's for shoulder. Okay, so the next thing we have to do, we want to get our shoulder to nipple. Shoulder to under bust. Our half length. The full length of our blouse. And we'll add extra 2-inch allowance. We're going to mark the same measurement at the other side. That's shoulder to nipple, our shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, our half length, our full length, and our extra 2-inch allowance. Okay, that's done. So we want to connect our lines. We'll connect our bust line. Connect our under bust line. We'll connect our half length line. We'll connect our full length line. And then we'll connect our allowance line. Okay, that's done. So now B for bust line, UB on my under bust line, HL for my half length, FL for my full length, and AL for my allowance. Okay, so now at my shoulder line, I want to mark the division of my shoulder measurements. So my shoulder is 16 divided by 2, I have 8. I'm marking 8. Now I do get my chest line by adding 1 inch to the division of my shoulder measurement. So as I have 8, my chest line is 9. So I'm marking 9. Okay, so I'll use my ruler and connect the lines of the points. Okay, so that's CH for my chest line. Now on that chest line, I will mark my division of my shoulder measurement. That's 8. And I'll connect those 2 points. So this new line I'm creating is my armhole line. I've drawn my armhole line. So now from my shoulder line, I want to go down by 1 inch. From that 1 inch I went down by, I want to get the midpoint of my armhole line. Having done that, I will go in by half of an inch. Then I will use my master rule to make a curve. Okay, that's done. So now at my shoulder line, I want to mark 3-inch. That's for my neckline, and 3-inch again. That's for my neckline. So I'm going to make a curve. Okay, so that's done. Now from that point, I want to create my shoulder slope. So from my 1 inch I went down by, I'll make a line all straight to my neckline. Okay, so I'm done with that. Next is our nipple to nipple. So I'm marking my nipple to nipple measurement. I have 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'm marking 4. Having done that, next thing I want to do is to get the division of my shoulder slope. So I'll get the midpoint of my shoulder slope. Using my tape, I'll divide my shoulder slope into 2. I will make a point there. Next is to use my ruler to connect those points. The midpoint of my shoulder slope to my nipple to nipple measurement, and I'll make a line my nipple to nipple measurement all the way down. Okay, so that's done. Next is my dart line. At my underbust, I want to go in by 0.75. You can use half inch, you can use 1 inch. It all depends on your measurement. So I'm going in by 0.75 at both sides. I'll use 0.75 to at the down. Okay, so that's done. Now at my underbust line, I will want to go up by 1.5. Sorry, underbust line, I will go up by 1.5. Okay, from that 1.5, I'm going to use my curve. I'm going to make a curve to meet that 0.75. So just look at what I'm doing and make yours like mine. So that's done. So now at my chest line, I want to go in by 0.75. So this 0.75 will serve as a distance between my two cups. So that's it. So the next thing I want to do is for my chest line, I want to go up by 2 inch. So you can use 1.5, you can use 1 inch to go up on your chest line. You can equally use 2.5. It just depends on how much you want your cleavage to be covered. Okay, so now I'm going to use my ruler to connect those points. That's done. So now at that line, I want to go in at both sides by 0.75. That's done. So using my curve, I'll make curve all the way to my bust line, or my bust line. So I'm done with that. I want to use my curve again to make a curve from that 0.75 at the new line I made to the distance between my two cups. So I'm creating a curve. The next curve we have to make is from that 0.75 distance between my two cups to my underbust line. So create a curve like you see me create mine. So that's my cup 1. So I have my up, my down, and don't forget to put the arrow where you see me put mine. So next I'm going to work on our other cup. So I want to make this cup size to be 4.5. For my nipple to nipple line, I'm going to mark 4.5. So I'm marking 4.5. So now at my chest line, I want to go down by 1 inch. So I'm marking 1 inch. Now using my ruler, I will create a straight line. Then that's 4.5. I'm going to like make dotted lines. Okay, so that's done. So now using my curve, I will make a curve all the way to the 1 inch I went down by and to that 4.5. Like, just see what I'm doing. From my 0.75 all the way to my 4.5. That's the 4.5 on the line I went down by. That's the 4.5 on my 1 inch I went down by. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to create a curve, another curve at the down part. From that 1 inch I went down by all the way to my other bust line. Remember to keep your curve in a way that your bust will have enough room to sit in. Okay, so I'm cup 2. So my cup 2 and put the arrow like the two arrows should be facing each other. So now it's time to put my body measurement. So my bust is 39. 39 divided by 4. I'll mark what I have on my pattern. So this is just me marking my bust measurement. The next measurement is my under bust. I'm working with 30. 30 divided by 4. I'll mark what I have. So I'm marking my under bust measurement. Next is my waist measurement. Okay, so for my waist, I have 33. That's my down waist measurement is 33. 33 divided by 4. I'm marking it. So now I want to place all my darts. So I have 1.5 as my distance of my dart. So 1.5. Now at that up part, I also have 1.5. So I'll replace 1.5. Good. So now using my ruler, I want to like draw my lines. So this line I'm drawing now, like this is my exact body measurement without my allowance. So now I want to add my extra 2-inch allowance to this. So adding 2-inch allowance to my bust line, 2-inch allowance to my under bust line, and 2-inch allowance to my allowance line. So I'm now drawing the lines. So this new line, it's my allowance. So I write AL, so that's just allowance. For the drafting of the front pattern, now we have to use a scissors to cut through this. Okay, so the only part of this pattern I won't be using is my yoke. So after cutting my yoke, I'll just set it aside. Apart from my yoke, I'll be using all other parts of this pattern. Time to work on our back. So I've gone ahead to draw my lines, my shoulder line, my bust line. So then I'm just write SH for my shoulder line, B for my bust line, UB my underbust, HL my half length, FL my full length, and AL for my allowance. So now at my shoulder line, I'll mark the division of my shoulder measurements. That's 8. And I've said before, I do get my chest line by adding 1 inch division of my shoulder measurements. So I'm marking 9 because my shoulder is 8. So next thing I want to do is to use my ruler to connect those points. So this new line I'm creating is my chest line. So I write CH, that's for chest line. Okay, that's done. On this chest line, I'll mark the division of my shoulder measurement. So I'm going to make a straight line. So this new point I'm creating is my armhole line. So at the top part of my armhole line, I'll go down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch I went down by, I want to get the midpoint of my armhole line. So at that midpoint, I'll go in by half of an inch. Now I'll use my curve I'll use my pattern master to make a curve. This whole new line we're creating is our armhole curve. Okay, now for my neckline, I'm using 3 by 3. I'm actually using 3 by 3 for this because I want to be using the yoke. So I'm just marking whatever I feel like. So in case you want, you can mark 3 by 2. In fact, you can just whatever neckline you want to make, just mark it. So now I want to create my shoulder slope. That's done. So now I want to mark my nipple to nipple measurement. So I'm marking my nipple to measurement from top to bottom. Now at my shoulder slope, I want to get the midpoint of it. Make a point. So now I'm going to use a ruler to connect those points. That's done. No time. So time for my darts. So at my allowance, I'm going in by 0.75 at both sides. So at my chest line, I'm going down by 1.5. So now I'm using my ruler. I want to make my dart legs. Okay, so we're done with that. So now we're going to if you remember at my front pattern, I went down by 1 inch from my chest line. So I'm equally going to do the same thing at my back. So I'm marking that 1 inch, and I'm going to create a new line. So now that's just done. We're done with that. So next thing we have to do is to put our body measurement. Our bust divided by, so mark our bust line, our round bust measurement. So the next thing we're going to mark our round under bust measurement. And next is our waist measurement. So I'm going to use my tape to replace all those dots I took. So I have half inch there, and at that point I have I have 1.5. So using my ruler, I will connect them. So this line is just my actual measurement without my allowance. So I'll still add my extra 2-inch allowance. So adding my 2-inch allowance. Okay, so now if you notice at this back pattern, I didn't add any zipper. This is because I won't be needing a zipper. But if you like feel like you need a zipper, you want a zipper, do add your zipper allowance to this. So now I'm joining my lines. Okay, so now at my allowance, I want to like go in by 1 inch, and now at that point, at that line, I want to go in by 2 inch. So this is going to be like the distance between my two back. So I'm like using my ruler to connect them. So I'll cut this off. I want it to have a yoke. So this is just the space between my two backs. So just so up down. Remember to make marks so you won't get confused. Then on where, like on which part belongs to which. My scissors, I will cut this out. Okay, so now at this back, I want to like take out my dart. So just see what I'm doing, and you can do yours like mine. Now you're going to need your cello tape for this. So I just closed my dart, and now I'm going to use my cello tape to hold this together. All for the cutting of our front and our back pattern. So this is my front pattern, my center front and my side front, and I have my cup 1 and my cup 2. Okay, so using this my pattern, I'm going to cut it on my satin. All right, so I've cut on my satin, and this is just it. I also cut the same using my pattern on my lining piece. So what I'm just showing you now, it's it on my satin. So this is just the front. Now I want to show you how the back looks like. Okay, so now I want to take my cups away because we won't be working with our cups. At like we'll work with our body first before the cups. So I'm taking my pattern away. So I'm going to open this satin up. Okay, that's done. Now I want to place my lace on top. I'll be using my gum, like my B6000 gum, my to gum satin on top. Alright, so I gummed my lace on top of my satin. I also went ahead to like gum my lace again on top of my bra cups. That's on my cups. This is how my back piece is looking like. I've also gummed my lace on top of my satin. And I went ahead to label U to where you're supposed to be, D to where this supposed to be, and my strap to where strap supposed to be. So this is just so I wouldn't be confused. So I've placed my breast pad on my cups and I've marked my arrow to where it is supposed to be. So now each arrow should be facing each other, and number one should go to number two, and up should go to up, and down should go to down. So now I want to sew from my underbust all the way to the top. So I'll go over to my sewing machine and I'll sew it and I'll show you. Next, I'll also bring the front part of my top. Okay, I will pin each of I will pin them together. So moving my stones, because I wouldn't want my needle to break. Don't forget to move your stones in case you're using lace, else your needle will break. So now I'm going to use my my needle to I'm going to use my pin, sorry, to pin them together. My side front to my center front, and the other side front again to my center front. Okay, so this is just it. So now I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and I will sew on this. Alright, so I've gone ahead to my sewing machine and I've sewed it. Okay, so I'm going to take away my cups. So using this like this part of my corset, I will turn it over to the back. So now I want to use this part of the joining, like the joining of my center front, as a channel for my boning. So this bone I'm using is actually 0.2 or 0.3 inch by size. So let's check it. All right, so it's 0.3 inch by size. To use the joining of my center front to my center side, and yeah, that part I'm going to like make a top stitch on top, leaving enough my boning channel. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me just do it and come back and I'll show you. Now at that center line, the part you're seeing, I'm going to use my bias to to create a boning channel there. So I don't want my boning channel to show at the front. So I'm going to do this inside of this. Okay, so I've drawn the lines. I've made my boning channels. So this is just it. So next is to place my cup on it. So the joining of my cups will go exactly on the joining of my center front and side front. So bringing up I will trim out all those excesses. And I'll do the same for the other side. Okay, so that's done. Now make sure it's facing down, the down part that is facing the our blouse. So now the line, like my cup, and the line of the joining of my side front and center front, they should be touching each other. Okay, now so as they're touching each other, and you make sure you sew around it equal to equal. So just see as I'm going, make sure you sew that direction. If you're done sewing that way, you go again to sew all the way to the center front. So I'll go back to my sewing machine and I'll do it for both cups. Alright, joining my cups to my blouse, and that's how it's looking like. Next thing we have to do now is to shape it to use it with our back. So I'm placing my back on this. Now if you remember, I added extra 2 inches to my front and to my back piece. So now to shape this together, I'm going to take away that 2 inch allowance I added. Using my tape, I'm going to mark out 2 inch. Those 2 inch I added also on that line. That's on that line. Okay, so I've stitched on top of the line. So this how my blouse is now looking like. So now we are to turn it up with our lining. So our lining piece, whatever we did to the front, we'll do the same to our lining piece, except making of boning channels and adding um cups to our to our lining. So this is my lining piece. I've did exactly what I did to the front without adding cups and okay. So now I'm going to use it up to turn this my blouse. So I'm going to place it on top of my blouse. Remember, front to front, that's front of my blouse to the front of my lining. Okay, so this is how it faced. So now I'm going to stitch at so make sure it's like you see what I'm doing exactly. You can use your pin to hold this together before going over to your sewing machine to stitch on top. So now to stitch on the top of this, I'm going to sew the side. I'm going to sew the other side. So the only part I'm not sewing is the down part of my blouse, like an up down part of my blouse. Okay, so now I've turned it up. I've stitched on top, and this is how it's looking like. So using my scissors, of course, we'll trim out the excessive. I will make notches. So I'm just making notches. After that is to turn it up. Okay, so this is just it, and I've turned it up. So now at this side of my back, that's at the end part of my back, where I should have my eyelet, I want to create boning channels there. So I'm going to sew using 0.5 inch at wait, hold on, let me use my tape and show you. Using my tape, I'm going to mark half inch from top to bottom. So this new line I'm creating, sorry, it's for my first channel. So I'm going to top stitch on like I'm going to make a straight stitch on that line and make it with my chalk. That's my first boning channel. The next thing is from that mid, I'm going in by 0.75. So this is where I will have, so that space is where my eyelet will okay. On this new line I made again, I would go by half of an inch. So this is my second boning channel. So I have two boning channel. The first line is for my first boning, second line is for my second boning channel. So I'm equally going to do the same for the other part of my back. Remember when stitching, like when those lines, make sure your material is arranged well, your lining won't show on it, like to press it flat so you can it can be easier for you to do. The same marks on the other side of my back. Okay, I've done that and I've stitched on top of those lines. So let me show you how it's looking like. I'll turn it over so you can see how the back looks like. So are you seeing it? Main channel, the space of my eyelet, and then my second boning channel. So next is our boning into all those boning channels. Okay, so I've put my bonings, that's my bone. I've put my boning in each and every of those channels. Okay, so time for us to iron this our boning flat. And we'll iron those our up part of our blouse so that we won't see our lining piece. You can use your Emmy gum to put at the top post part of your blouse when ironing. Okay, so I've ironed it and this is just how it's looking like. Back, I've pressed my boning flat so it isn't like bent anymore. It's now flat. Now this is made, but I do use to iron my cups, so you can make yours by yourself. I think it's sold in the market, but this one I made it myself. Okay, so now time for me to work on our house. So I want to like top stitch on top of that. After stop, I'm going to top stitch on top, cut out the excesses of my top stitch, then use my bias to turn it up, and voila. So this is just my blouse, my corset blouse. We're done with the making of it. So what to do next is to just attach my, like, to put my eyelet. So this is just all for the cutting and the sewing of our simple corset blouse. I hope you like this video was helpful to you. So like, see you next in my next video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Continue to be like an encouragement for me to post more content. Thanks for watching.